Hi, my name is John Mouton. This is my final project for ECON 325 with Dr. Skinner. Um, Today I wanted to talk about the topic of the increasing of the minimum wage and how that affects the economy. And I'm going to use 10 different concepts that we learned this semester and how increasing the minimum wage affects those 10 concepts. And so we'll jump right in. For starters, for the first concept, consumer income is going to increase. We know this because we're increasing the minimum wage. So the nominal consumer income is going to increase. And because of that, consumer spending is also going to increase. And so we know that for concept two is that our demand curve will shift outward as a result of a consumer income increase. And we can show that right here on this top graph. You can see consumer income will shift the demand curve outward, and this will also increase the price level, and we will also produce more at this level. Higher quantity demanded right here, and so your suppliers will supply a higher quantity, also at higher prices. And that leads us to our third concept, is that our output in GDP is going to increase as well in the short run. We're going to have an increase in our GDP. But however, because the prices have increased for labor, it is very likely that we see unemployment rise. And people begin to lose their jobs as businesses can afford to hire and employ as many workers without raising their own prices. And so for the price of labor to go up, we're going to see unemployment go up. And unemployment is our fourth concept that we're speaking about. Our fifth concept is the increase in the price level, which I've already mentioned. But you have an increase in the price level of wages, and so businesses, in order to keep up with this increase in cost to produce, they're going to have to increase their prices across the board, from McDonald's burgers to your new cars for 2021. And so price level is going to go up. Unemployment is likely to go up as well because of this. And we have a graph to show the unemployment. We see now our minimum wage is $7.25 for Louisiana. Let's say we would increase it to $15 an hour. You can see that your equilibrium at $7.25 is right here. If we increase this price level, now the demand for labor is much lower. Our quantity of labor demanded is going to decrease dramatically. You can see labor will become more costly, obviously. That moves us on to our sixth concept, which is inflation. Over time, in the short run, we may not see inflation, but over the next few years, inflation will go up because the price level is going to go up over the next few years, obviously. In the short run, you're going to see higher incomes nominally and higher production, but over time inflation will catch up and unemployment will catch up to this higher and increased cost of labor. Moving on to our seventh concept, we're going to talk about the new equilibrium for price level and output. And this can be kind of tricky because showing this graph right here, new equilibrium, we're not really sure what the prices would do. It's kind of a question because with your increased income, demand obviously shifts out because we have a higher demand for products now that consumer spending has gone up. And supply has also shifted out because we're producing more because we're getting paid higher wages. So a lot of firms, they assume that we produce more, and so your quantity will shift out. But we're not really sure what the price level does. It depends on the dramatic effects of demand and supply. But in my personal opinion, we don't necessarily produce more when we're paid more wages, because we're happy in the short run, but in the long run it becomes just a normal wage. And also your inflation catches up and your unemployment, we lay off workers, so we don't necessarily produce more. So theoretically, that may sound like so, but in reality, we don't always produce more whenever wages go up, especially if they're forced, and it's not a choice. So our eighth concept, we're going to talk strictly in the short run. I have right here in the short run. You can keep it on me. In the short run, your income goes up. We may see an increase in GDP in the short run. We may produce more in the short run. We're happier about our wages. We're motivated to go to work. We give more to our employers. Because of that, aggregate demand may go up as well because consumer spending goes up, and aggregate supply will also go up. As we talked, we produce more, and supply will go ahead and meet that demand and get the bang for their buck. However, our ninth concept is the long run, and this is what really matters, because in the long run, prices will adjust. Price levels will increase. We talked about companies raising their prices, and inflation will catch up, and that wage will be meaningless. Your real wages will be the same as if you were getting paid $7.25 before, because price levels have increased. So in reality, you're not better off. You're not making a higher wage, and in the long run, we could see some unemployment, people losing their jobs because McDonald's can't afford 10 people in the back anymore. They can only afford 7 because wages have increased, and they have also increased the price of their burgers because of this. So I just want to, I want to mention that we should take states like California, for example, who have the highest cost of living yet pay the highest wages. And they will continue to do so. And that's because they give out the most free dollars. They give out the most money to people that aren't producing more. So if we give out money when we don't produce more, like we've done a ton this year, which in some instances we've had to, we don't always, we'll see inflation rise, and we're not always well off. California has one of the highest rates for homelessness and poverty. So our 10th concept I want to talk about is perfect competition of labor. Perfect competition of labor, it creates an incentive for you to gain skills and gain and earn, your higher wages. If you don't like the wage, if you don't like $7.25 and you want $20 an hour, it gives you an incentive to go get licensed or go to college or go get educated so that you can get $20 an hour. And then you're producing more. So in the long term, this produces economic growth if we have incentives to better our skills and knowledge and education. So raising the minimum wage in the short run may benefit for a year or two, but in the long run, our standard of living will remain the same as prices will adjust. So in my opinion, perfect competition of labor is the best way to go. It's the best thing that we found out so far. There may be better options, but it's certainly not. It's certainly a better option than just increasing the minimum wage in the long run. Thank you.